The old car rumbled to a stop. Zara shivered. The hotel loomed over them. Grand Blackwood Hotel, the sign creaked in the wind.
Creepy.
Maya whispered, her voice trembling. The steps groaned under their weight. The door creaked open before they touched it. A musty smell wafted out like old books and forgotten things. A man stood in the shadows. His eyes gleamed in the darkness.
Welcome to the Grand Blackwood.
The room was silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that makes you feel like you're not alone, even when you are. The old clock on the wall ticked away, each second echoing in the emptiness. Zara felt a chill despite the summer heat. The air was thick, almost suffocating, yet she shivered as if it were the dead of winter. She wrapped her arms around herself, trying to shake off the unease.
Did you hear that? Maya's voice trembled, barely above a whisper. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for the source of the sound.
Maya whispered, clutching Zara's arm. Her grip was tight, almost painful, but Zara didn't mind. She was just as scared. The room seemed to close in on them, the shadows growing longer and darker. A soft whisper seemed to come from the walls. They listened, hearts pounding. The sound was faint, almost indistinguishable from the creaking of the old building, but it was there, a voice just out of reach. The whisper came again, a sighing sound, like someone trying to speak from beyond. Sleep wouldn't come. The night stretched on, each minute feeling like an eternity. They were trapped in a nightmare, unable to wake up. Every creak of the floorboards, every groan of the old wood seemed to carry a message, a warning perhaps, or a plea for help. They couldn't tell. Every sigh of the wind against the windows, every rattle of the glass sounded like footsteps and whispers. The wind seemed to carry voices, fragments of conversations long past. Sounded like footsteps and whispers. Zara's mind raced, trying to make sense of it all. Was it just their imagination, or was there something more sinister at play? Zara felt a cold dread creep up her spine. She knew they had to leave, but her legs felt like lead. The fear was paralyzing, holding her in place. She glanced at Maya, who looked just as terrified. They were in this together, for better or worse. Morning arrived, pale and wan. They found the old man in the lobby.
We want to leave.
Zara said, her voice firm despite her fear. The old man just stared.
Leave, but you just arrived.
And there was another guest, a young man. We saw him last night.
The old man's smile was chilling.
You are mistaken, child. There are no other guests here.
Panic rose in Zara's chest. She could feel her heart pounding, each beat echoing in her ears like a drum. The room felt like it was closing in on her, the walls inching closer with every breath she took.
We need to get back to our room now. Hurry before it's too late.
They ran back to their room, their footsteps echoing through the empty hallway. The sense of urgency was palpable, each step fueled by fear and desperation.
The door, it's locked. Why won't it open?
Help! Somebody please help us. Is anyone there?
The only answer was the sighing wind. They were trapped. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional creak of the old building. They had to get out. The sense of entrapment was overwhelming, and the air felt thick with tension. But how? S3. Media person banging on a locked door, shouting for help. Close-up of hands pounding on an old locked door. Let us out! The desperation in their voices grew with each passing second.
Wait, look at this. Could this be our way out?
Zara noticed a loose floorboard. Her curiosity piqued. She knelt down to inspect it closer. Prying it open, she found a small, dusty key. Could this be the key to their freedom?
Does it fit the lock? Please, let it fit.
It fit the lock. The sound of the key turning was like music to their ears, a glimmer of hope in their darkest moment. They raced down the hallway, their footsteps echoing loudly against the old wooden floors. The urgency in their pace was palpable, driven by an unspoken fear that seemed to chase them through the dimly lit corridor. The front door loomed ahead, a beacon of hope in the otherwise oppressive atmosphere of the hotel. It was their only chance of escape, the only thing standing between them and the unknown terror that lurked behind.
Almost there. Just a few more steps and they would be free from the clutches of this eerie place.
But as they reached for the handle, it swung open on its own, as if guided by an invisible force. The creaking sound of the door echoed through the hallway, sending chills down their spines.
Leaving so soon? The voice was calm, almost mocking, and it froze them in their tracks.
The old man stood there, his eyes gleaming with a sinister light. He seemed to know everything about them, their fears, their desperation. Behind him, a shadowy figure flickered, its form barely discernible in the dim light. It was as if the darkness itself had come to life.
Welcome to your new home. The words were like a death sentence, final and inescapable.
It reached out a hand, its touch icy cold, sending a jolt of fear through their bodies. Then everything went black, as if the very essence of light had been snuffed out. The next morning, the room was empty, devoid of any signs of the previous night's events. It was as if they had never been there at all. The Grand Blackwood stood silent, its imposing structure casting long shadows in the early morning light. It was a place of secrets, a place where people vanished without a trace. The only sound was the creaking sign swinging in the wind, a haunting reminder of the hotel's dark history. Zara and Maya were never seen again. Their disappearance became just another unsolved mystery in the long, eerie history of the Grand Blackwood Hotel.